Broadcasting from Hollywood, it's the official On Air with Brandon J podcast. Here we go.
Guys, I'm Brandon. Welcome to On Air with Brandon J. I'm joined by a special guest today, national recording artist Carson Lueders. Carson, how are you?
I'm great, man. How are you? Thank you so much for having me.
You know, it's great to finally get to connect with you. I've been watching and keeping up to date with what you've been doing on social media and through the start of your career. And first off, congrats on everything, right? You got this new single, Toxic.
Thank you so much. Yes,
that we're
thank
going
you.
to play
I appreciate
on the
that.
show after this interview. So thank you for the exclusive, for giving me the permission. Shout out to your management.
Of course.
Even Gary, everybody, for this interview. Carson, like, when you do music, who would you say some of those influences are?
I would definitely say it started with country music because growing up, you know, like we lived on a tiny little lake in Spokane, Washington. So it was always hometown. I was kind of a country boy listening to like Keith Urban and people like that. So that's where I got my country roots. And after I was on The View with Keith Urban, then I just kind of started to evolve into more pop music and a little bit more into the hip hop urban sound before I started working with Timbaland. So that's where it kind of all came up from. It's kind of a weird journey.
Dude, you've been blessed to work with so many people. I mean, to go on The View and have millions of people tune in to what you're doing.
And I didn't even really know. I didn't know what I was getting into with all this.
Right.
It just all kind of came natural. So that's where I try and give all the glory to God. And it's like I do the stuff that I enjoy, and it's awesome.
I mean, so you started with roots in country, and you know the great thing about country music tells great stories. When I think of all of the great artists,
Yeah.
an artist that I think that has really found a lane and is really just trumping over everything is Kane Brown, right? And
He's
got
awesome.
kind of that mixed sound, right? You got the little bit of the hip hop with Grand
Right.
and different things like that. So it's unique to see artists like yourself and others. So first off, how did you meet Quavo?
Okay, so originally this goes way back years ago when I was first getting into the music industry, right? And I think it was one time I was in Atlanta with Jermaine Dupri, and we were recording a few records. And this is when I was first like kind of getting more into hip hop, because obviously a guy like Jermaine is going to give you that type of music if that's what you're going to him for. So anyways, we ended up going to one of the films because he was doing that rap group thing, or the rap show, or the rap game. And so we went there, and the Migos were the special guests for the show. And then we ended up meeting them. And then, you know, they heard some of the music and stuff. So that's how I first met them. And the funny story behind that is the Migos actually posted me, like they wanted to post me on their Instagram. And it was so weird seeing that, because this is way before Bad and Bougie and all of, like, obviously the Migos. So it was just crazy.
I mean, what quality control? You know, I was watching a documentary, the biopic film on Lil Baby on Amazon Prime, and
Right.
watching what quality control was able to do, Coach K and Pierre and all those guys with Migos and Lil Baby and all. It's really unique. But to see an artist like yourself, to be able to get catch the attention of not only Migos, but let's talk about Jermaine Dupri, right? Because that's how I came across your music and your style, was through Rap Game and everything like that with JD. And what was interesting, I was like, this Carson kid is going to go places. And here we are a few years later, and you got millions of fans on social media, and you got a single, Toxic, coming out today right here on iHeartRadio. I mean, you got to be like, yo, you just bring the vibe, man.
No, it's definitely all kind of like came together finally at the last moment. We've been working really hard as a team just to transition myself from coming out of Def Jam and being an independent artist, and being able to do a project like this is just so crazy that I'm finally releasing this, because this was a record that we recorded and kind of sat there for a second, and we didn't really like pounce on it immediately, but it was cool that now we realize like what potential it has after sharing it with friends. And getting someone like Quavo coming on is just, obviously, it's kind of like a dream to me. So I just can't wait to release it and let the people hear it, and hopefully it brings a lot of people joy.
Man, congrats on that. What do you think is the most difficult part to the piece to the puzzle, I should say, when an artist is signed to a label? Because a lot of people don't want to ask this question, but I do want to ask this question because I know a lot of this stuff, but I want the audience at home to hear from an artist that was signed to a major label such as Def Jam Recordings. Like, what was the most difficult part for you being an artist? Was it the fact of molding into who you desire to be, meaning your sound, your image? Like, tell us.
I would say, like, the one thing I can say about the whole label experience in that journey, I learned a lot in how the music industry works. And a lot of that stuff is, obviously how your deal is structured. And I had like a very good deal at Def Jam. I loved the people I was working with. There's no like bad blood or anything. I literally enjoyed every single person from Def Jam, and they're very like home vibe, family type people. So that was amazing. I have nothing but love from them. But we could just tell that, COVID hit. It was such a hard time because, I went over a year without dropping any music, and I just released my first single back, which is You and I. And now I'm dropping Toxic featuring Quavo. We're following that with more records. We just have so much in the computer right now that I want to share. And so we're just going to be banging them hard like all year long, just dropping song after song after song.
Carson, out of all the artists you've met, if you could name an artist that you could collaborate with that would just bring a whole new vibe to the fire you're already putting out, who would it be and why?
Number one, you said people I've met. It's got to be Drake. Drake is number one to me. Even like the people I'm surrounded with, my like closest friends, they all know Drake is the GOAT. Like, Drake honestly kind of owns the rap right now. Obviously, like, we've got Jay-Z and all these respected artists in the past. But if I had one collaboration, it would definitely be Drake.
Yeah, that definitely got to be fire. I mean, Drake, he's incredible. What advice do you have, Carson, for those artists out there that are pivoting, that have opportunities and options on the table? What advice would you give them?
My one piece of advice is just to follow your dreams. Like, obviously, do what you want to do. Find something that you enjoy. If that's like being an artist, if that's releasing stuff for the public, or maybe creating your own work in a private setting, at the end of the day, you have to do what makes you happy. And that's what I really encourage you guys to not give up and put in a lot of work, because I've been doing this for years. And I'm finally able to do my my dream as my job. So that's amazing. So just like follow your dreams, work hard are my two big things.
What do you think about the metaverse and NFTs?
I don't know. I kind of have mixed feelings about that. I don't really own any. I have like a couple NFTs, but I don't even really know what they're worth. So I'm not really big into it, but the whole metaverse thing, I don't really.
It's a vibe, bro. I mean, everything, what's interesting, Carson, it's so hard to project, what the future of Web 3.0 and things of that nature bring. But one thing I can say that I've witnessed with my physical own eyes are major corporations are trademarking various things in the metaverse.
Right. Yeah, 100%.
So if they are, there's something up to it. So all I can say is I'm keeping my eyes open.
Okay, I feel you.
Hey, man, what's something that nobody can Google about Carson Lueders?
Nobody can Google about how much sugar I have in my body constantly. I mean, it's honestly kind of a problem. I feel like my main source of energy and my youthfulness comes from sugar. So I feel like that's something like we were just talking about, how there's certain things that can change your health, and like the amount of sugar that I have on a regular basis, whether it's like candy or just sweets or just anything, I'm always wanting sugar for some reason.
Fun fact, Carson Lueders is addicted to sugar right here on All Air with Brandon J.
It's so bad, but it's not horrible, but I've seen people that also have the same kind of, I don't know, like DK Metcalf from the Seattle Seahawks, one of my buddies. He eats so much candy.
Yeah, man. I mean, Lamar Odom, a huge candy eater as well.
Exactly. So like we have our certain things that,
yeah,
I mean, we kind of splurge on.
There you go, man. Hey, I'm not mad at you, Carson. If anybody wants to connect with you on social media, what is the preferred platform to connect with you on?
I would say the preferred platform is definitely Instagram, TikTok. You know, I've got pretty much every social media platform. It's usually my handle at Carson Lueders. That's CarsonLueders. And I think Facebook is the Carson Lueders, but those are my official accounts. Yeah, you can check me out there.
Carson, thank you so much for coming on the show today. Congrats on the new single with Quavo, Toxic.
Thank you.
It's gonna
Thank
play
you.
In just a minute here. And
yes,
I appreciate
everybody
you, man.
Stream it. Add it to your Spotify playlist. Let's go.
Yes, sir. Carson Lueders right here on Air with Brandon J. I'm Brandon. We'll see you next time. Goodbye for now.
Thank you for tuning in to On Air with Brandon J.
Hey, oh, yeah.
Follow on Instagram at I am Brandon J.